recording. I just turned the recorder on. And so a copy of the recording will be made available at a later date if you need to refer back to the presentation. Also, the actual slides will be made available as well on our DHCD website. Please, if you can, the way we have please check your mics often and make sure that you're on mute. The way we have the platform set up, you will have an opportunity to ask questions at the end of the presentation. But while we're going through the presentation, we just ask that you keep your mics on mute. And then again, we'll open up the floor at the end of the presentation. With that being said, I will go ahead and put the slide up. Just give me 1 minute so I can put the slide up on the screen. You all see my screen?
Yes, it's just white though.
I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I just still see the white screen.
What that is. Stephanie, is it the PowerPoint version that it doesn't share?
PowerPoint you should be able to share the PowerPoint. Does it allow you to pull the file, like to go to file?
That's the option I'm choosing.
You didn't PDF it, did you?
I did PDF it too. That's what I'm gonna. Oh,
Yeah,
here we go.
Okay.
So weird. Okay.
All right. Yep, it's up.
All right, perfect. Okay, so again, this is the pre-proposal conference for our new construction and rehabilitation of affordable rental housing program. Let's see. All right, first we just want to highlight the schedule. The NOFA was launched last Friday, January 31st. The pre-proposal conference is today. You will have an option if any of your questions were not answered in today's conference. You have an option to submit any written questions by this Friday, the 7th. And we will post the questions and the answers on our webpage by February 18th. And then the submission deadline for these applications is March 17th. And we intend to announce awards the last week in May, the week of May 26th. So that's an outline of the schedule. This is a tentative schedule. Right now we are on schedule, but that is subject to change. First, the NOFA that we're putting out today, this NOFA for FY25, we're making $6.5 million available to support affordable rental housing projects, whether it be new construction or a rehabilitation of existing rental properties. This NOFA does include 2 set-asides. Up to $1 million is set aside for community land trust, in which you would need to be a registered community land trust to be eligible for these funds. And then another up to 1 million is set aside for emerging developers, which we define as a developer who's completed at least 3 projects and no more than 5 projects. Qualified applicants can request up to $1 million per project. Qualified applicants who work in more than one community can submit more than one project for funding and will not be penalized. However, your projects will need to be ranked in priority order. Applicants must be able to show that they meet all state and established organizational standards associated with the new construction or preservation of existing affordable rental projects as further described in the NOFA. You must have the capacity to undertake and complete your projects in no more than 2 years from executing a grant or funding agreement, including site control, committed funding sources, and having established infrastructure to support the tenants and handle the compliance of subsidy of the rental units and the day-to-day management of those units. To be considered for an award, applicants are required to meet the threshold requirements and must receive a minimum score of 105 points out of a possible 120. Applications will be scored and ranked based on project feasibility, community engagement, and achieving equity, with an additional opportunity to qualify for a max of 70 bonus points. This NOFA is limited to applicants that are either nonprofit, for-profit, community land trusts, or joint ventures, and are seeking funds for the new construction or preservation of existing affordable rental projects. Applicants with 3 or more active existing construction or subsidy awards for projects from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund are not eligible. Funding limits. Now, funds are limited to households earning 50% of the area median income or less. Trust funds can be used for up to 50% of a project's total development cost, or a maximum of $1 million per project, whichever is less. The $1 million maximum is subject to the cap stated above. The maximum request per unit is $75,000 for households earning 50% of the area median income, and the maximum request per unit is $120,000 for fewer than 10 units, and $150,000 for 10 or more units for units at 30% AMI. Up to 25% of the total award can be used for pre-development costs. Up to 25% of the total award can be used for acquisition costs. Up to 10% of the award can be used for operating costs directly related to the project's implementation, including staffing costs. And up to 25% of the total award can be assessed in advance for pre-development and or acquisition costs. That is the advance is for grant awards only. All units funded through the trust fund must restrict leasing and occupancy of those units for a period of at least 30 years to households earning incomes that do not exceed 50% of the area median income. Please note that this does not mean that all of the units in your project need to be 50% AMI and below. We just will only fund those units that are targeting 50% AMI and below. Funds can be requested to support pre-development and construction costs, provided the request does not exceed the maximum funding limits stated in the NOFA. We have a list of eligible uses: acquisition and stabilization of non-city owned properties, architectural and engineering, environmental and assessment and testing. I'm not going to go down the list of all of the eligible uses, but this basically outlines what eligible uses of the funds are. And then ineligible uses of funds, acquisition of city-owned properties. This one is really important as far as the advance that we stated earlier. You would not be able to use the advance for the acquisition of city-owned property. We would be able to reimburse you once you have site control of the property. So keep that in mind if you're intending to use city funds for city properties. We would not be able to reimburse you for those costs until you actually own the property. This also lists some additional ineligible uses of funds. Now, how to apply to the NOFA: only electronic submissions through the Neighborly application portal will be accepted. Applicants must submit one complete online submission of their application, including all attachments and threshold requirements in a PDF format, and one copy of their development budget as an Excel spreadsheet. Applications are due by 5 p.m. on March 17th, 2025. The application itself consists of 4 parts: threshold requirements, financial review, score criteria, and signed certifications and authorizations. The threshold review includes organizational, financial, and compliance-related documents and is used to determine whether an application is eligible for review. Examples of the threshold requirements in this NOFA include, but are not limited to, the commitment to comply with the city's minority and women business participation and local hiring requirements, being in good standing with the state of Maryland, and meeting trust fund requirements. Applicants must include all items on the threshold checklist, or the application will be determined to be ineligible for review. DHCD will notify applicants electronically and/or in writing whether their application meets the threshold requirements, and will post an updated summary on its website. DHCD reserves the right to accept alternative forms of compliance on an individual basis. Score criteria. Now, applications that meet all threshold criteria will be moved on into the scoring criteria and be evaluated according to the following: project feasibility, community engagement, and participation, and achieving equity. Project feasibility categories are listed below. The project needs to be completed within 2 years of executing the funding agreement. Experienced development team. The project's ability to leverage additional funds, feasibility of the development budget, your site plan, and experience in renting and managing low-income rental units, and/or having a reputable management company. So these are all the criteria under the feasibility category, project feasibility categories. Community engagement and participation. The project is consistent with community or neighborhood revitalization plans or strategies, neighborhood participation, and project ownership and control. The project supports one or more of the goals of DHCD's community framework, and documented community engagement plan that details opportunities for stakeholders to provide meaningful input into the project. Under achieving equity, applicants are encouraged to refer to the DHCD equity statement. Building and achieving equity, points will be awarded for proposals that take into consideration the principles outlined in the agency's equity statement related to minimizing displacement and supporting previously disenfranchised communities in ways that create equity and build wealth. Opportunities for returning residents. Points will be awarded to projects that can provide a range of strategies to ensure current residents will benefit from the proposed investments, and supports blight elimination. Points will be awarded to projects that eliminate blight and/or other dangerous or unsafe hazards in the neighborhood in which the project will be located. Bonus points. There's up to 70 points for bonus points, and the categories under bonus points are long-term affordability, and up to 10 points will be awarded to projects that agree to maintain affordability restrictions for at least 40 years through a deed restriction or other legally enforceable means. Supports and grows local businesses, up to 4 points. Applicants are required to demonstrate how their project will support businesses located in Baltimore City. Responses should specify local vendors who will be used. Serves households at or below 30% AMI, up to 10 points. And points will be awarded to projects that have a significant number of units, 25% or more of the total project units, restricted to serve households with incomes at or below 30% AMI. Provide services for permanent supportive housing. Full points will be awarded to projects that incorporate permanently supportive housing for some portion of the total project units, including a detailed plan identifying a qualified entity committing to provide the supportive services, and as well as the specific services to be offered to fully support households that have been homeless or require other significant accommodations. Takes advantage of apprenticeships and training programs. This section actually, I just want to say this, in the NOFA, we're actually revising that. This portion takes advantage of apprenticeship should be, let me double check on that. It should be 4 points. Okay, so I updated on this slide, but in the actual NOFA document and on the application portal, I think it has 3 or 2 points, and that's not correct in the in parentheses. It should be 4 points for this section. So takes advantage of apprenticeships and training programs. Applicants are required to provide a plan for utilizing training and apprenticeship programs and to include a letter of intent from the provider. As a condition for receiving the funds, applicants will be required to provide an executed memorandum of understandings or comparable agreement with that provider. Collaboration across multiple neighborhoods. This section also is incorrect in the NOFA and in the application. We are updating that, but I'm just making you aware now that this section should be 5 points. It says maybe 3 in the document, so we're correcting that. Applicants are required to provide documentation demonstrating how their projects impact multiple neighborhoods and how this helps to achieve economies of scale, and how multiple stakeholders are working collaboratively to achieve outcomes. Local hiring criteria, you would select one option of the 3 for the local hiring criteria of up to 7 points. So applicants are required to assign and include a local hiring certification with their submission that must be approved by DHCD or its designee. Project awardees must agree to periodic reporting to and monitoring by DHCD and its designee. Project awardees must take all reasonable and necessary steps to achieve planned outcomes. Failure to achieve planned outcomes may disqualify the awardees from future funding rounds or result in other defaults. Applicants are required to provide a strategy detailing how they will achieve the selected goals. And then these, you can choose from these options as far as what you think fits for your project. And environmental sustainability. I believe this is the other one that's that's an error in the NOFA and in the application. This section should be 5 points. Points will be awarded to projects that include a significant plan for environmental sustainability, such as deconstruction and debris materials recovery, construction techniques that will reduce impervious surfaces or the carbon footprint, passive housing, urban agriculture, composting, or other sustainability initiatives. Site plans should indicate the location of planned programs. And then we have a developer fee deferral up to 10 points, and bonus points will be awarded to projects that defer 10% or more of the development fee. And then finally, under bonus points, the markets of strength neighborhoods is up to 10 points. And bonus points will be awarded to projects that are in market of strength neighborhoods that are defined by Baltimore City's housing market typology, categories A through D neighborhood zones. And I believe there's a link to look that up in the NOFA. All right, so reviewing and awarding funds. Now, applications that meet threshold criteria will be reviewed by an interagency review panel, scored and ranked by the review panel, who at their discretion can submit written requests for additional information, meet the applicant and or their team members, or tour the proposed projects. As part of the review and based on the total requests received, the panel has the ability to recommend that applications receive less funds than were requested. So once the application portal closes and we begin the review process, please, keep checking in on your emails because during that review process, there's a chance that we'll be reaching out to you to get some clarifying information about your application. And, because we're on a tight timeline, I think we might give you about 3 or 4 days to respond. So please try to, keep in touch with the status of your application, just in case we reach out to you all during that review process. During the review process, questions regarding announcements shall be directed in writing to DHCD.AHTF NOFA baltimorecity.gov. That's our email address for the NOFA. Applicants are prohibited from contacting specific members of the review panel or members of the commission. Those who do will have their applications disqualified for review. The review panel will provide their recommendations to the housing commissioner, and at her discretion has the ability to determine final awards. And then finally, all awardees will be notified by phone and or in writing whether their submission will receive an award of funds. Applicants who do not receive an award of funds can submit a written request for a 30-minute debriefing. During the debriefing, DHCD will review the submission and panel's recommendations. Underwriting and availability of funds. Following written notification of an award, the AHTF team will invite all awardees to an orientation to walk through the process. Following the orientation, the DHCD staff will schedule an initial meeting with the awardees to review the schedule and how funds will be made available. During this meeting, which we refer to as a kickoff meeting, staff will review the agency's underwriting requirements and will work with the awardee to develop a schedule. As part of its requirements to make funds available, DHCD takes a security interest in the project. All pre-approval and commitment letters must be in hand before DHCD issues funds. Awardees are advised that no funds shall be made available until the Board of Estimates has approved a funding agreement. Funds will be available based on reimbursement basis only. Funds will be made available based on a reimbursement basis. No upfront funds outside of the advance monies will be made available. The advance monies, again, is available to grant awards only. Awardees should acquire a line of credit to help with cash flow of the project. Also, in some of the requirements, if you are awarded funds, there are some monitoring, compliance, and reporting requirements during the term of the agreement. Awardees will be required to submit progress reports for projects under construction, detailing the following: the percentage of the project that's complete, reasons if the project isn't on schedule, percentages of MBE and WBE goals met, local hiring plan updates, and percentages of local employees and apprenticeships. And failure to submit reports and information in a timely manner could result in a state of default, loss of funds, and disqualification from seeking funds in future NOFAs. Also, all awardees will be required to provide evidence of insurance prior to DHCD's issuing of a letter of commitment. Insurance requirements will be provided on a project basis and often include the following: directors and officers liability insurance, commercial general liability, errors and omissions, blanket crime coverage, automobile coverage, and payment and performance bonds. Indemnification. All awardees, their employees, boards of directors, contractors, and subcontractors will be required to indemnify and hold the city harmless from any claims, demands, lawsuits, or other actions that may be brought against the project. Conflicts of interest. Awardees will be required to disclose any conflicts of interest with regard to the project that their staff, consultants, board of directors, contractors, or subcontractors may have. And administrative rights. Any administrative questions and inquiries can be sent in writing only to dhcd.ahtf.nofa at baltimorecity.gov no later than 5 p.m. on March 17th. Okay, and this is I just put a few screenshots of the actual application portal. As previously stated, applications will only be accepted through the Neighborly portal, and the link to that portal is in the NOFA itself. So this first page is just a landing page for Neighborly. You'll sign in or create an account. Everybody will need to create an account if you haven't already. And so that's what this page looks like. Once you get into the application portal, you see a number of different applications that are being offered by the department. But you're going to specifically for this NOFA, you want to click on the AHTF New Construction Preservation of Existing Rental Housing NOFA to start your application. Once you get in there, the first thing they're going to ask you for is your project name. That is for us, that's very helpful. If you do have a project name, please put it here. If not, put the name of your developer or okay. All right, and so this is the first page of the application. You would need to click continue to go into the actual application, but I just highlighted this page because the sidebar it's going to be on your left hand side. This is basically every page in the actual application. You want to make sure that you're completing every section in the application. Once you have fully completed it, there are some sections in the application that you're required to complete. And once you have fully completed each page, you'll see a check mark next to that section. Up at the top, you can put multiple users on the application. This is where you would need to go to give access to those users. And this is just a snapshot of the first page of the application, the contact information, where you put your developer name, the contact information. This is snapshot of the project information. And now at the bottom of each section in the application, you're going to have the option to either save or complete and continue. I highly encourage, whether you're ready to complete and continue or not, to save as often as you can so that you don't lose any information. And then finally, the certification of compliance. This is the last page in the application that you'll need to complete. Check all the boxes off, and then it's going to ask for your electronic signature. And then once you finish that, you'll complete and submit your application. While you're the landing page, once you start to complete your application or when you're finished, you'll be able to see the status of your application at the top. And if you need to make any edits, you do have the opportunity. If you haven't already submitted the application, you will be able to make edits. But once you submit your applications, you will not be able to make any more edits. That we would be able to reopen the application, but on your end, once you submit the application, it's been submitted. And that's the end of the presentation. So what we're going to do is open up the floor for any questions. I'm not sure if anybody put any questions in the chat, but
Yes.
we have questions in the chat. Do you want to start with those first or just
We could start with those first because there's only two, but we do encourage
okay.
you to raise your hand to speak up for your questions. So the first question was, does student housing qualify since these students have little to no income? Geneva, that is an ongoing question for us because our goal is to fund permanent housing. And so what we'll do is we'll get back to you, and this will be one of the questions that will be posted on the website, and an answer to that on whether we will be funding student housing. Aaron Rice, what is the length of developer fee deferral? A few weeks, months, or years? Aaron, that is a good question. We have never had a time limit on it. I will also bring that up to the leadership staff on if we should be having a time limit on it, and that answer will be on the website as well. Okay, we're getting a bunch in the chat. Do you want to go to the people, to participants with their hands raised?
Yeah,
I
I guess we can bounce around a little bit.
Okay.
We have TS with the hand raised. So TS, I'm going to unmute your mic and you can go ahead and ask your question. Okay, TS, your mic is unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Thank you so much. So I would be considered an emerging developer with only my property as having undergone repairs and construction. So I guess my question is, um, as a applicant, does the office require a formal partnership with a developer that meets that threshold of having developed 3 to 5 projects? Or could I, not having had necessarily 3 to 5 projects completed, could I qualify and meet that threshold if my consultants themselves, being like the GC, the architect, them having that background in development? Would that
Yes,
be right?
you would still qualify. We encourage you to find experienced consultants to help you through your project. Yes.
Okay, so I wouldn't have to partner with an experienced developer to qualify?
No.
Okay, thank you. I feel as though there's one more question, but I'll hold off. I'll wait until it comes back to me.
Okay.
I'll come back. Thank you.
All right.
We have another question. Rami. Okay, your mic is unmuted, Rami.
Yep, do you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that the slides and the recording will be available. What website or portal will it be available in, and how can we access it?
A DHCD, I put it in the chat. Hold on. I'll drop it again.
And we're gonna post it on the Affordable Housing Trust Fund's webpage. Okay. One more person with the hand up. Kobe.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for taking my question. I was wondering, we are trying to renovate row homes, and I wanted to ask a question in terms of the UFAS or accessible unit requirements. Um, is it a requirement that the row homes meet that, or can a waiver be requested for that?
I've never had someone request a waiver for it. I would have to ask leadership if that's something that we could do. Again, that question will be posted on the website with the answer.
Thank you.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
posted it in the chat too if you just needed a
Yeah,
reference.
that's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I have Dale Bruton. I'm sorry if I messed up your name. That's at the top of the list. Can you unmute? Do you see him on your side?
I have one more.
Yeah, this is Dale.
Okay, here we go.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Dale.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Great, great. And you said my name perfect.
Oh, wonderful. Good,
Yeah,
good.
thanks for taking my question. I'm looking to provide affordable housing for veterans, and I'm looking for funds for the developing existing there's a existing home that I have and one that I'm purchasing. And
Mhm.
this would be the program that I could go under to get funding for rehab in those homes.
Yes, if they meet the income requirements, which is 50% and below.
Now, is this for the occupants to meet the requirement or?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Their income needs to meet 50% of the area medium income. The Affordable Housing Trust Fund funds, again, it was mentioned in the NOFA, but it is required. We cannot go any higher than 50% of the area medium income. And we will post a link to HUD's AMI incomes in the chat so that you can look and see like what those incomes look like.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Dorothy Henson. Request to unmute. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Hi, Dorothy. Yep, we can hear you.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for taking my question. My question is essentially the same question that John posted in the chat, and it is whether the awards can come into the project as a loan or a grant, and is there a difference in the eligible uses depending on whether it comes in as a loan or a grant?
Eligible uses is the same for both. And yes, it can come in as a loan or a grant. Yes.
Okay, thank you so
And
much.
yeah, and just to tap on that, we make that determination after we do our kickoff meetings and to see like what the needs of the project.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Geneva Hansen. Unmute yourself, I think. Yeah. Request unmute was sent. There you go.
I
Hi,
guess
Geneva.
hello, this has been informative. Question for you. Do you have a preference on the size of units? You know, studios, one bedrooms to family size, you know, 2 or more.
Nope, we do not. We do fund efficiencies.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Looks like Kobe. Did we already call him Kobe?
Yeah. Kobe, do you have another question? If not, put your hand down. Okay, looks like he did. Siobhan Cooper. A request was sent to unmute your mic. You should be able to do it. One more. There you go. Hi, Siobhan.
Mentioned reimbursements earlier. Is there a necessary for funds being requested?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it wasn't clear. So can you repeat the question?
I know you mentioned but the host mentioned something about reimbursements. So is there a proof of funds being requested for this grant?
Yeah, so you have to have your budget established, and we do want to see that you have some committed funds in your deal. There's a part in the application that requires you to upload that. We only fund up to 50% of your total development costs. We do not fund the entire deal. So you need to be able to show where the rest of those funds are coming from. It looks like it put you back on mute. Let me unmute you again. There you go.
Okay.
Was that clear?
So how much?
Okay.
Yeah. So how much would that be?
How much will what be? The amount
So
of
as
your
far as the proof of funds, how much are you asking for the applicant to have already, like the proof of funds? Are you asking us to match the million? Are you asking us to have 50% of the million, or what? How does that go?
So it's your total development cost. So let's say you got a $4 million total development cost, you know you can only get up to a maximum of 1 million. You need to be able to show where the other 3 million is coming. It doesn't have to be fully committed at the time of application, but you need to be able to show that you have applied or you're going to apply or that you actually have received part of the total development costs, if that kind of makes sense. So yes,
Okay.
it's based off of your development costs.
Right. So after the application is submitted, we basically, that will come after the application is submitted, then we would develop the development costs. And then once the development costs are generated, then we will see what is 50% of that. And then you would fund the rest, basically.
No, you should already know an estimate of what your total development cost is going to be. As we know, yeah, definitely budgets are very fluid and move around a lot, but you should at least have an estimate of what your total development cost is going to be. And then you should be moving towards building your capital stack, which is what we're asking for, that to show that who you've applied to, who you have received funds from already, and then how our funds work into your budget. So when you do your budget, yes, you will show the Affordable Housing Trust Fund as $1 million if you meet that eligibility, the funding limit requirements. So it will show the Affordable Housing Trust Fund as like $1 million in your budget, but you need to show where the rest of your funds are coming from. So no, your total, your budget, your total development cost should be estimated out by the time you apply to this award. Siobhan, you want again on mute, and I just want to make sure that your question was answered, and that if you have any other questions. All right, you're back on.
No, I understand. Oh, so I do have one more question. Thanks. You know what? I think you answered it with the other question that you asked. So how many units are required? Like if it's one family, single family home, would that be enough to apply and qualify for this program?
We have never put like a minimum. The only thing I will say is that you won't have a greater chance of probably getting awarded with just one unit. This is a highly competitive application, and we receive a lot of applications, and so we're definitely going to go with the more units that we can get.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Eric Johnson. You had a request to be unmuted. There you go. Hi, Eric.
How you doing? Thanks everybody for the information. I may have joined a little late, and you may have covered this already. If there is already development opportunities that's out there that we're doing, and we're currently just at the beginning stages, and if approved or awarded this, is there a specific time frame those funds need to be expensed within the duration of the project? Is there anything fiscal years? I know it's kind of that type of fund. You just want to be accepted.
So in the NOFA, you get after the funding agreement has been approved by the BOE, it is 2 years. You need to have expended the money within 2 years.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep. Rosalind Jackson, a request to unmute you. There you go. Hi, Rosalind.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Thank you for this. My question is, can we apply to multiple rounds, or is it just a one-time application?
No, you can apply for multiple rounds. There's just a limit that you only can receive you only can have 3 active Affordable Housing Trust Fund awards at a time.
Okay, thank you so much.
Carmina. Carmina, your mic is unmuted. Hello, Carmina?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. I'm a developer right now between Baltimore and Philadelphia, and we have about 6 houses that we need to I'm sorry I came on late, so I do apologize if this is going to be repetitive. If we have about 6 projects that we need to get done, there are single family homes. We already have our budget outlined. We want to spend about $150,000 on each house for the budget. We have a possible lender lined up. So is it possible for us to say get half of it from the lender and half of it from you, and how much of our income we need to show for 6 properties with that type of budget for 150 for our construction per house?
So we fund up to 50% of your total development costs.
Okay.
So
So I guess you would do like 75,000 of each house if we were to be approved.
yes. So
Okay.
and that's also within the NOFA, you'll see that the funding limits is like it's a funding limit max out for each unit. So if you're serving 50% AMIs, then our max is 75,000 per unit. And if you're serving 30% AMI units, it's up to $120,000 per unit. So calculating those numbers out, you would have to do that with the units that you're offering. But the funding, we fund up to 50% of your total development costs, and the max is $1 million that you can
Okay.
receive. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep. No problem.
ATI. Your mic is on, ATI.
Are we, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Sorry. We're a nonprofit, and we, supply supportive housing, permanent supportive housing. We acquired an apartment complex about a year ago that has over 45 units that we dedicate to permanent supportive housing for low income. My question is, with that being said, the funding that we get, like maybe like from foundations, et cetera, are we able to use that those funds in order to meet the standards of applying for this particular grant or loan?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Looks like
Daniel Chatters.
oh, Daniel Chatters. Okay. Did they drop off?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Daniel Chatters.
Disappeared.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
here.
there you go. Again.
Okay, Daniel, your
I
mic is on.
appreciate the session. I had a question around the home ownership portion. Are there any programs that you guys are aligned with to help the end buyer in those lower AMIs to buy the property once they're developed?
So for this particular funds, this is rental only. This is not home ownership.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bradford Phillips.
After a project has already started, or do we have to apply for funding prior to permits being submitted?
We missed some of that, Bradford. Can you repeat your question, please?
I said, do you guys allow funding after a project has been started and partially funded, or do we have to apply for the grant prior to the project starting, prior to permits?
Oh, no, you can apply. If the project has already been started, yeah, that's fine. Bradford, just to kind of ping on that though, you would only be able to be reimbursed on activities that has been done from the date of the award though. So anything that happened prior to that, you would not be able to use the funds for that. We went back on mute.
Dale Bruton.
Did it open up the mic?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, this is Dale again. I apologize for still having my hand raised, but I spoke earlier and you answered my question. I guess I need to
Oh yeah.
lower
Yep.
my
Put your
hand.
hand down. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dale.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody, once you ask your questions, please take your hand down so that we can go to the next question. Harry Schwartz. Okay, your mic is on, Harry.
Yeah, I think you've already answered this question. I'm specifically, we provide transitional housing for folks that are homeless or while they're in treatment for substance use disorder. Does the funding apply to these kinds of programs?
Harry, so we had funded transitional housing that was attached to the residents going into permanent housing. So you would have to have them being able to help, you know, like connect them to permanent housing. So not just transitional housing.
So if part of the service includes assisting them to move on beyond our housing, then that would meet your requirements.
Let me confirm that with leadership, and then we'll post that on the website, because the projects that we had funded that had transitional housing actually had a building that was under them that they ran. So you're saying that you would be helping them get into an apartment that has not that is not connected to your organization.
Right.
Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, let me confirm that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, Rupert McCabe.
Your mic is open, Rupert.
Okay, thank you. I have two questions in the queue, and the first one is based on the criteria for emerging developers. Is it the entity that has to have that experience, or the person? Because in our case, we are real estate developers. We have like two different entities. One does rental properties, another entity does rehab properties in Baltimore City. And so the question is it the entity or the person that has to meet that criteria?
That's probably a good question. I would think it's the entity because that's who we're funding.
Okay, that makes sense. And my second question is going over the construction budget, well, actually the development budget. Most of our projects, and you know, for construction, once you get a permit and construction starts on day one, you got to have a cash flow for the contractors, you know, to finish the project. So my example is if our budget is 150 and we approve for 75K for the grant, from day one to start construction, would we see the 75,000 in our cash flow to pay construction as we go along?
No, we're on a reimbursement basis.
So I have to carry the full 150.
Yeah. And then submit your payments as you have been as you have paid out.
Okay, because that's really, really important. So if
Yeah.
I have construction drawers, which you normally have, construction drawers for the contractor with our
Right.
lenders, we pay as we go. Each drawer is inspected and you pay the contractor. So is that the same I'm hearing I could expect to have that construction draw, that schedule, where my lender is going to pay the contract as well as the grant would pay me, right? Is that correct?
Yes. Yep. We'll reimburse you for that cost. Mhm.
Okay, got it. Got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Siobhan Cooper.
Yeah, so I saw that cooperatives were one of the eligible applicants. How do you have any different rules as far as cooperatives, co-ops?
No. No. Like, I guess give us an example of what you would think a different rule for a co-op would be. But no.
So I know you mentioned like rents and things like that. Well, as far as the co-op, they don't do rent, and we don't have like a management company. We manage the co-op manages itself. So I didn't know if it was any different, aspects that apply to a cooperative.
Okay. Yeah, no. You and so in a NOFA, it states that if you have experience managing a rental property, that's fine. And if you don't, you know that you have a reputable management company to do that part of the project. So if you manage your rental properties already, that's your experience with it, and that's fine. But yeah, I haven't. We have funded a co-op, and that I can't think of anything that was different for a co-op than anywhere else. Jason, I don't think so. Right.
Okay, that's it for now. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Siobhan. TS, do you see TS, Ebony?
Yeah. Yep.
Hi, thank you again. I have two questions. The first, being that the funding can either be a grant or a loan, when it comes to the budget, the financials that we have to submit, should we categorize this funding as a debt service or a grant? How would you like to see that compared to the other fundings that might go into that financial breakdown in the budget? I hope that made sense.
Yeah. I don't think we have a preference. I think it's like what's best for you and your deal. There is a box in there that says like, are you requesting a grant? And if so, why? So if a grant would make the project work better, then you would give that example. But yeah, I don't we don't have a preference for it.
Okay, great. And then the second question has to do with the documents, the additional documents that have to be uploaded into the portal specific to the organizations, or I should say the entities' financials. So going back to my first question, having being an emerging developer, this would be my first project, but working with consultants that are experienced. What type of financials would you like to see from my entity, being that it's newly formed and this would be the first project?
In the NOFA, it's like a drop down of 3 options. So you would probably be for the smaller company. That's like, and Ebony, correct me if I'm wrong. It's like if it's 200,000 and under, then you would just need like a balance sheet. It tells you exactly what we would need from you. Versus like a bigger company that has 500,000 or more, they would need like audited financial statements.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, no problem.
Daryl.
I'm riding on something. I'm sorry.
You got an echo.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you're on 2 devices.
No, I'm trying to fix that.
Okay.
I truly apologize.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. And I don't know why it's doing it now.
Yeah.
Okay, how is that?
Still got an echo.
Jesus. I'm so sorry. I don't know why. And
You
I'm
can
not
try. You
Yeah.
can still try to state your question.
Well, I actually sent it in writing. I can't take it. I'm gonna disregard my questions right now. I just need email addresses. Maybe I can fix it.
Yep. Well, drop them right in the chat. Nathan, it looks like you're unmuted.
Yes, I have a question. So, is the entity that's applying is not an emerging developer? Will it still be eligible if it partners with an emerging developer?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is that Baltimore Now?
Yes, my apologies. I was trying to raise my hand. I'm not too familiar with the WebEx platform,
Oh,
so I kind of took a risk. I put a question in chat as well as to when the award will be made, i.e., fund disbursement starts.
What? I'm sorry. I
When
didn't
will you
understand.
announce? When will you announce the awards, and when will you start dispersing the award funds?
Oh, what is the date, Ebony?
It's the week of May 26th, so the end of May. We would make award announcements. And then once if you're awarded, we would schedule an orientation and then do our kickoff meeting. And then from there, we would start preparing for the agreement. The agreement would need to go to the Board of Estimates before any funding would be dispersed. And that could take once the agreement is drafted, that could take about 6 to 8 weeks to get Board of Estimates approval. One thing that you would want to keep in mind in terms of the timeline, though, is that the agreements are for 2 years, and so you want to try to time your Board of Estimates approval to ensure that you'll be able to get the project done in 2 years. So you don't want to go to the board too soon and then not be able to finish the project within that 2 years.
Thank you.
Yep.
You're welcome.
I think Daryl haven't been. Daryl, can you unmute yourself? I don't see it's unmuted yet. Mike, it didn't go green. Daryl, I think you have to unmute yourself. If it lets you. Yeah, there you go.
There.
All right. Are you still hitting the feedback?
Oh,
Yes.
no.
Sorry.
Okay. Tracy McCullum. I think you got to unmute yourself. Tracy McCullum. Request sent for you to unmute yourself. Okay. All right. Okay, Daryl has a question in the chat, so that's the one with the that was having a problem with his mic. Would an existing cooperative housing development, Reservoir Hill Mutual Homes, qualify for any of these types of rewards? The organization is a nonprofit group where the members own a small percentage of ownership within their unit. We're looking for grants relating to weatherization and property security enhancements. Would each member have to apply for their unit, or can the organization submit for the entire group? We fund more like construction, and it looks like you're looking for grants that's relating to weatherization and security enhancement. So this is about construction. Carmina, it says this fund seems to target newer developers. Why must the whole project need to be finished before reimbursement? It doesn't need to be finished before reimbursement. It needs, you can do draws as you pay out and be reimbursed on it. As well as if you receive a grant, especially for our smaller developers, if you receive a grant, we allow you to get up to 25% of the funds in advance. So Doreen Andrews said that she's trying to ask a question, but her mic is locked, but I didn't see her hand raised. Doreen, can you raise your hand? And then we'll be able to unmute you. Ebony Heidi Moore says, is there a section in the application where you submit photos of work that needs completed for the project? Oh. I'm wondering if there's a section we can allow that.
There's a section where you're supposed to upload a, oh, that's just ask for a
That's the map. Yeah.
yeah.
I wonder if they could drop it in there though. You may be able to drop it in the upload button for the map of your site. I would try there.
That means info.
Tia Freeman, does our company or our collaborators need to be based in Maryland in order to apply? The entity that is applying needs to be Maryland registered. Jackie Means Riviere, can the funds be used to develop housing for youth aging out of foster care? If you're doing housing for young adults, that the funds is for affordable units, not particularly the person that's going in it. So the person that's going in it, AMI needs to be at 50% and below, but it's to fund the units that will serve the 50% and below. So yes, if their income is at 50% and below of the area medium income, yes, they will qualify. Yes, Patricia Mackle, would all the residents need to meet the AMI requirements? Absolutely. The Affordable Housing Trust Fund funds are only for 50% and below of the area median income.
Oh, Doreen, I see her with her hand raised.
Okay, good, good, okay.
Hey, Doreen, we just sent you a request to unmute your mic. There you go, Doreen.
Hi, Doreen.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, thank God. Yes, someone sent me this email to get on, but I was working with my 92-year-old mother. I had to feed her. And I live in a multi-dwelling. It's and I need work done, like construction work done. I've been a Baltimorean all my life. I have lived in Baltimore. I want to know, with these funds that is given out, am I qualified?
So Doreen, this funding is for development. So developers that are creating affordable housing. There is a program under our home ownership that will help fund homeowners. Like you can apply to receive funding for repairs of your home. I will, if you can email me, and I dropped my email in the chat. If you can email me, I can try to find that link for you and send you their application.
Okay. Let me get a pen because I need to write this down. Because my phone is acting up and I think I'm ready to cut off.
Okay.
So let me get a pen.
I'm gonna drop it in the chat again too.
Okay, drop it in chat again.
Yep, I got you. Okay.
Because I really need help, and I've been trying to get help for about 4 to 5 years.
Okay, yes, that's a great program. Yep, shoot me an email and I'll get you that link.
Okay. Really appreciate it.
Yep,
I didn't
no
think I was
problem.
going to get through. This phone is acting up.
Yeah, and it's a large group on too. So yes, sorry. Trying to work through all of it.
Okay. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you. You have answered my question because I've been trying to get help. I've been down the city. I'm getting a lot of fines and I need help.
Okay. Yep. Shoot me an email and I got you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good evening.
Okay. Bye.
Tracy, let's try this again. I sent you a request to unmute yourself. Try to unmute. Sent it one more time. Okay. Rupert, you have another question. Can the renter with an AMI 50 and below use vouchers to assist with the rent? Yes. Sade, do you have to have experience in developing or do new companies have an opportunity to apply? Yes, we would like some experience, which is what we call emerging developers, which is a development company that has developed a minimum of 3 at least.
Have Rosalind Jackson.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I had another question. Thank you for taking this one. For my program parameters, uh, does the potential resident need to be a current Baltimore City resident, or can they be someone trying to move in to Baltimore City?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They just have to live in Baltimore City. Like your units have to, the building has to be in Baltimore City.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, our funds is more about the units and you offering those units to 50% and below are in medium income residents. So it's more about your units that you're offering. Sam, that Sam, can you unmute yourself? There you go. Hi, Sam.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. With being a developer, a beginning developer from Philadelphia and also in Baltimore, and having a new entity in Philadelphia, in Baltimore, would I be able to use my experience from Philadelphia too as well?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. You can list that. We encourage you to talk through those. It's a couple slots in the application where you talk about your resume. So yes, that's fine.
Okay. And also too, how long does within signing to get the grant or the loan, how long does it have to be an affordable housing unit? So I know you said some numbers.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Wendy.
Minimum.
Wendy, was you speaking?
No, that wasn't me.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sam, there's a 30-year restriction.
Okay.
So, yep, reiterate that from the NOFA. These funds have a 30-year restriction tied to them.
Is Rob here today?
That wasn't me.
Oh, okay.
I don't know
Is
who.
that, oh, it looks like Tracy, it looked like Tracy was able to come off mute for a minute. I'm sorry, Sam. It looks like one of the other attendees was able to come off mute at the same time. Okay. Did you have another question?
And does it have to stay? Let's say, does it have to stay in the does it have to stay in the LLC, even though it could still become affordable housing, but can you sell it somewhere else and let them make it affordable? And let that be affordable housing, or it has to stay in the LLC?
No, it can be sold to another entity that's willing to do affordable housing. Yes, that restrictive covenant will be recorded in the land records. So during transfer, it will be understood that the property will be affordable for the 30 years.
Okay. I think that answered the question. I appreciate it.
Yep, no problem. Tracy, let's try one more time. They sent you a request out. There you go. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, I'm sorry. I don't know if anybody asked this question or not, but I want to know, do we have to actually have the property at the time that we complete the application?
You have to have site control. So you need at least a contract of sale. A deed is considered site control. So if you own it already, that's great. But if you don't, you have a contract of sale. And if you're buying from like the city, they use a LDA, which is a land disposition agreement. So, but yes, you have to have site control.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. That is a big part of our threshold is that you have site control. If you do not have site control, you will be eliminated before your application even gets reviewed. Ooh.
Okay. Clint, your mic is on.
Curious, are there any marketing guidelines for renting these units? To be clear, in New York City, if you receive subsidy, you have to market the houses on a lottery system. I don't know if Baltimore has anything like that. Would I be able to choose tenants or yeah, anything like that?
Yeah, no, we don't have a marketing requirement. We do encourage you, we have community engagement, and we encourage you to engage with the community that you are developing in. One of the biggest things is getting support from that community. So other than that, no, marketing to a certain list, no, you can rent to whoever, long as their income is within the parameters.
Thank you so much.
Yep, problem. Kathy, I think it's Kathy. Unmute yourself. Hi, Kathy.
Hi. I just, the wondering, I want to be clarify. You said that it must be 3 units for the develop. That what that means? I must be have 3 unit to develop, and then can apply, or I only can have 1 to apply for this program. Currently,
okay.
I just have a house. Is the house is it have to be looks like inside everything have to be rebuilt. If I wish to join for this project, can I apply for this?
You're looking to apply for construction funds.
Yeah.
Yeah, then yes.
This one, this house, outside, the house foundation, everything is okay. But the inside is, there is nothing in, bathroom, the floors, kitchens, is nothing. We have to destroy everything, but I just for inside parts.
Yeah, yes,
Can I apply?
this fund is for new construction and preservation. So yes, you can apply to rehab a property, and it's just for rental though.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So in the future, I, have to be rent to the, the Baltimore City resident. But for myself, I do have the, the house in Baltimore City. But my personally, I don't live in the, the Baltimore City. That will be okay.
Hold on. So
I'm the owner.
And you want, oh, so no, these funds are not for principal residents.
Oh.
Yeah, this is for development. So this is for developers to create affordable rental housing.
Mm-hmm. Well, like my, if I apply for this one, can I apply for the funds for, for the in the future for the rental?
Yeah, so in the future you're going to fix it up.
Yeah.
And you want to apply for it to rent it out.
Yes.
Yes. So one thing though, Kathy, I kind of want to point out, and this is just for everybody, is that remember these funds have a 30-year restriction attached to them. So if it's just going to be like a small amount, I would think through that before you try to apply to these funds, because if let's say you're talking about one house, that may be something like 100,000 to 150,000, even 200,000. A 30-year restriction is a lot on something that's small. So we don't have a minimum limit of what you can request for, but we definitely would want you to think through that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Rosalind Jackson.
Yes, it's me again. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay. So we have funds from other places already. But one of my partners, they're asking if the construction of a park or playground can be used for the planned residential area from these funds. Because some of the other funds limit us. We can't use it to do playgrounds and parks. But can we do it? It's the same planned residential area for low income housing, but can we use some of these funds for those parks or playgrounds?
No.
Just
We
dwellings.
we only fund residential. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem. If you guys have already asked a question, please put your hand down if you no longer have a question.
Clint?
I have a similar question. If we were to develop a mixed use development, could we use the funding for affordable units on top of a recreational center or something similar like that?
Yeah, you can have a mixed use project. Our funds will just go towards the affordable units.
Great, cool, thank you.
Yep.
Siobhan Cooper?
Yeah, so couple questions. So understanding the 50% funding limit that you guys offer, does that just apply for the development portion of the grant, or does that apply to all categories?
All categories, your whole budget. So the 50, we fund up to 50% of your total development costs. So your entire budget.
So that means technically we would have to have about 500,000 already
From other
in order to
sources?
qualify, right, in order to qualify for the million.
No.
No. So for us, it's the total development costs. And so we say we fund up to 50% would be, let's say 10 million. I mean, 2 million. And then we'll fund up to 50%, but that also needs to be aligned with the per unit cost. So for you to get $1 million, you would on a $2 million budget, you would need to have over 10 units. So it would probably be somewhere around the 12 unit mark. And that's at for 50% and below AMIs. Now, if you give us a couple 30%, you may could come in at the 10 unit, but all that stuff needs to align for you to get that $1 million. But your total development cost at least has to be 2 million to receive $1 million.
Right.
Along with the amount of units that aligns with the unit per unit cost.
Okay. So is there a specific, like you said at least 10 units for the 50%?
Well, 10 units at 50% would be 75,000 per unit. So that would max you. So if you only gave that would max you out at 750.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're only doing 50%, you would need to be a little bit over 10 units.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And another question, to piggyback off of another person's questions, when they asked about if they were to sell the property and have the new owner agree to low income, is there a cap on the sell price?
No, not from us. It would be from the mortgage company who's valuing it, but not from us.
Right. So
We're
I
not
was
a part of that.
not requesting within the 30-year limit or limitations that you have on it. You're not requesting that if someone was to sell the property that it has to be under a certain amount or above or whatever.
No, the units just need to stay at 50%. Whatever you sell it for, that's your business. But long as those units stay affordable, which would be at the 50% and below. And that covenant is very detailed and it is recorded in the land record. So when you go to sell and they do the title search, they would see that. Did Siobhan go out? Oh, hold on. Sorry, Siobhan. It looks like it. Siobhan, try to unmute yourself. There you go. I think it just cuts off after a certain minute.
I understand now. You answered all my questions.
Okay, cool.
All right, thank you.
Yep, have a good one.
You too.
Are these the same people? I wanted to have another question.
It's a little bit after 6:30, Steph.
Okay. We encourage you all that the meeting was just till 6:30. We went past by 5 minutes, so we encourage you all to send in those extra questions if you have any additional questions to the DHCD. Let's
I'll
drop
put
that
it in the chat.
again.
Yeah.
To the Affordable Housing Trust Fund email. Yep. Thanks, Ebony. And send those in within
By
Friday.
Friday.
Yep,
Yep.
by
the 7th.
Friday. And then those questions will be included in the questions that will be posted within 10 days of this meeting. We look forward to your applications, and always feel free to reach out to us. Beyond this, I had a question about this before. The questions that you're asking by Friday are the questions that will be posted. But if you have questions about your application after this, you can definitely reach out to us. You can call us. We'll answer any of your questions. We just have a deadline on the questions that we will post. So again, if you have our information, we put it in the chat twice. Put it one more time. And feel free to reach out to anybody on the team. Oh, Lordy, my computer is acting down. Hold on. Let me get out emails.
Is that what we were posting?
Yeah, I was trying. It was kept on doing something stupid. Hold on. I think I got it now. Paste. Okay. Yeah, feel free to reach out to us. You guys have a good evening. Again, this recording will be posted on our website as well as the slides. Have a good night. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody. Good luck.
Ebony, you go into the practice session.
Oh, okay. Here we go. I have to stop the recording first.
Oh, yeah.